A husband and wife who face their unwelcome cough cancer put together a powerful photo series titled The Battle We Didn't Choose. Their goal in documenting Jen Merendino's struggle with cancer was to educate people through visually showing them what enduring cancer is really like, the challenges and the pain of the disease, the importance of family and friends, and appreciating each and every day like it's your last. Their story is really inspiring. Welcome to Inspire University, Angelo.
I can thank you for having me. It's an honor to be here.
That's right. So tell us your love story. When and how did you meet Jennifer?
Jennifer and I met in 2005. Jennifer was managing a restaurant, and I went there to apply for a job. And when I saw Jennifer, I fell in love immediately, and I knew she was the woman I wanted to marry. So she hired me to work there, and 1 month later, Jennifer left. We were in Cleveland, Ohio. She got a job in New York,
Okay.
so she moved away, and we weren't dating at the time. We just became friends, and we talked for about 6 months before I finally worked up the courage to tell her that I wanted to date her and that I was crazy about her, and she felt the same way. We just, neither one of us had the courage at that point to say it to each other. So we started dating then, and Jennifer was in New York, like I mentioned, and I was still living in Cleveland, and we dated long distance. So we would talk on the phone and send letters and email and text messages, and then after about 6 months of that, I finally moved to New York, and the night that I moved to New York, I asked Jennifer to marry me.
Wow.
I got down on one knee and proposed to her, and when I did that, she yelled, "Shut up," because she was so surprised. And I was, down on one knee and thinking, wow, what does "shut up" mean? And but then we married about a year later, and it was wonderful. We were so happy, and it was just fun. We loved being with each other, and we made each other laugh, and so it was a wonderful time.
So what happened to Jennifer next?
Well, 5 months after our wedding, Jennifer was diagnosed with breast cancer, and I still remember when she called to tell me, and before that, she had a mammogram, and the doctors were concerned about something they had found, and I remember telling Jennifer, we said, okay, well, we don't know if it's cancer, so we're going to try not to get upset yet, but we were very nervous. And then the doctors called, and they said, yes, it is breast cancer. And I remember when Jennifer called me, I immediately felt numb. And it's been over 5 years, and I still feel numb. It was such a shock. You never expect this to happen to your, you don't think it's going to happen to you or yourself. It happens to someone else, and now we were the ones it was happening to. So we started treatment. Jennifer had a double mastectomy, and then she received chemotherapy and had radiation treatment, and then reconstructive surgery. And after about 7 months of this, our doctors felt that, to the best of their knowledge, Jennifer was free of cancer. So a year and a half after that, that's when Jennifer's cancer metastasized to her liver and bone. So it wasn't liver cancer or bone cancer, it was breast cancer that had spread to her liver and to her bone. And that's when that happened. We had to start treatment again, And our doctors basically said, you know, that Jennifer would have to constantly receive some type of chemotherapy treatment to prevent the cancer from spreading anymore. That was the goal. So once again, we were back in treatment.
Okay. And what made you wanted to take her photos?
Well, when Jennifer was initially diagnosed in 2008, and while we were going through treatment, we had a really incredible support group. Our family and friends were there for us. They helped to, they helped to, you know, that they had fundraisers to help us with our medical expenses. They sent cards, they came to visit, they sent food, and we needed this because going through treatment is exhausting. It's more than a full-time job, and Jennifer was fighting for her life basically. And chemotherapy is so it's so aggressive. All of that is, you know, we needed all of that help and that support. And thankfully, our family and friends were incredible. So when Jennifer's cancer metastasized, we noticed that people didn't seem to understand how serious this was. They would say things like, oh, just stay positive, you're going to be fine. You beat it before, you'll beat it again. And we were positive, and we did believe that Jennifer was going to, you know, that Jennifer and our doctors and the treatment, we believed that it was going to keep the cancer from spreading. But the reality is it's not just about being positive. When breast cancer comes back, it's very serious. And Jennifer's cancer was spreading, the chemotherapy wasn't working, and we were trying to get people to understand how serious this was. And people weren't calling as much as they did before. They weren't, not that they weren't as supportive, but they just didn't understand what we were going through. And we were frustrated by that because we needed them. We needed the cards or the messages saying, hey, I love you, I'm thinking about you, or, you know, we really needed that. And we tried talking with people. Jennifer also had a blog, and it just didn't seem that people understood. So we decided that if they saw what we were going through, maybe that would make a difference. Maybe then people would better understand. So I started making photographs of what we were going through, and that was really, at first it was just for our family and friends. I never had any idea of doing what's happening now. I never thought of sharing these with the world. And the more our family and friends started to see some of these photos, then it started to help. You know, people realized, wow, this is serious. Jennifer's really struggling, and really, you know, things could go wrong. So then a friend suggested that I put these on the internet. And he said, you know, if it's helping with your family and friends, maybe it could help other people too. And when I did that, a lot of people responded in very beautiful ways. They were moved and encouraged by Jennifer and her grace and her courage. And some women even said that they were getting mammograms because of Jennifer. And that's when we felt that it was important for more people to see these photographs, because a lot of people don't talk about things like this. And I understand why. It's hard, and it's emotional, and it's scary, but it's also important. You know, if we don't share these experiences, then how can anyone ever learn? You know, and help, really. So the photos were really, I started making them because it was necessity. We needed them. And now they've turned into something that I never had any idea they would.
So how did Jennifer and you feel and react when both of you got the support from around the world?
It was really humbling,
Mm-hmm.
and um, it was just special to see that, you know, people we didn't even know were sending their best and sending love and support. And you know, there are so many things in this world that aren't great. You know, there are people are suffering and wars and all of these horrible things. So to see something positive and to receive some, you know, the kindness of others was just special. You know, it's those little things that make life a little better when you're having a hard day, and you know, just something simple and small, something that reminds you that there are good things happening too. You know, that's what these photographs and this support was like. It just helped us to, you know, when we were having a really bad day, to maybe get a couple of messages that said, "Hey, I'm thinking about you. You know, you made my day better." That was really special. So it helped us. It just brought happiness and joy into our life. You know, it was a very positive and good and loving exchange.
All right. So what's the lesson you would like the world to learn from you and Jennifer?
Well, there are different lessons. I think that one is that if you know somebody who is facing a challenge like this, it doesn't even have to be cancer. It can just be, you know, anything that's difficult in life. You know, I think it's important to be there for people and to listen and to let people know that you're there and that you love them and to help. You know, we received so much help, and I don't know how we could have made it through all of this if we didn't receive this help. So I hope that when people look at my photographs and our story, that they stop for a minute and think of others, and they think of how, you know, we're all very fortunate in so many ways. And I hope that people will see the importance of being there for other people. And I also hope that people will be thankful for each moment and tell the people in their lives that they love them more, and that people will appreciate each moment, because, you know, we don't know what's happening. Jennifer was only 40 when she died, and just a few years earlier, you know, less than 4 years before she died, we got married, and we thought we were going to start our life together and maybe have a child and grow old together, and that didn't happen. So I just really think it's so important for all of us to be aware of the fact that we're here today, and that's a blessing. You know, it's not something to be taken for granted. And the last thing is, I hope that when people look at my photographs, that they see love and life, and they don't see loss and death, because that, you know, Jennifer embraced every moment, even before she had cancer. And she lived her life with so much love, and she inspired me to be a better person. So again, I hope when people see these photographs, they see that. They don't just see cancer or someone dying. You know, it's more about loving the people who are important to you, and being kind and helping others, because, you know, when it comes down to it, all of these other things are just possessions or material. They're really not as important as being good to each other and helping people who need it.
Yeah, I think that's all for the interview. And take care, Angelo. I'll pray for you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks for your time.